So, yes, I'm going to call the Deutschen Pfest committee meeting to order. It is 6:37 p.m. On Monday, September 25th, 2023. Citizens communication. The committee welcomes comment on items related to Deutschen Pfest. Public comment that is made on an item that is not on the published agenda will only be heard by the committee. No formal action, discussion, deliberation, or comment will be made. Each person providing public comment will be limited to 3 minutes and be asked to state his or her name and address for the public record. No. All right. Approval of the minutes. Discuss or did everyone have a chance to read the minutes? All right, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, so motion carries, the minutes are approved. Discussion regarding, or 4A, discussion regarding Deutschen Pfest status update.
Okay, so welcome back. We are, 25, 26 days away now, so we are moving quickly right up next to the event. So for the staff side, first thing I want to cover is the layout. So staff has worked really, really hard on the layout this year. We've added more parts to this event and tried to improve it for the citizens. All that still has to fit inside of Pfluger Park, and so here, this picture is what the previous layout looked like. You can see the thought was to put the carnival rides over on the right side, stage there in the middle, vendors around the circle. So there were a couple problems with this layout. One was the carnival space. So we have 7 carnival rides. They're all pretty big. The smallest one has I think it's a 20 by 20 footprint. So, and that's bumper to bumper, we're needing 3,068 square feet. That's without fences, without lines, any of those kind of things. So another thing we were dealing with is because of the drought this year, we talked with the fire department, and they are not comfortable putting mobile food units underneath the tree canopy. That's not specifically addressed by the code, but they did not feel comfortable with us having those directly under the trees because of the drought and having one of those catch on fire. With the rides, those 7 rides, it also means that the food vendors, to be away from the canopy, they would have to be on the left side of the trail up there. So you'll see on the blue section, those are the food vendors. Orange are the premier, yellow are the regular vendors, and then green are the base vendors. And then the little light blue ones down there, those are the city booths. So we would have to move the food vendors over on the left side to keep them away from the trees, and then put the Berlin vendors, which are the premium ones, next to the carnival rides. Problem with that, there are only 12 food spaces represented here. We have 17 food vendors. So, created a spacing issue for us. One other thing we looked at too is our sound engineer has been recommending to avoid putting hard, flat surfaces in front of the stage. And so if we were putting food trucks directly across from the stage, you're getting that bounce back, which essentially creates an echo. And so when you're performing, you're hearing what's coming from the speakers, and then you're hearing a second version of that bouncing off of those hard surfaces. It's really disorienting if you've ever experienced it. It is crazy how sound works like that. So he has recommended not putting hard vendors as much as we can right there across from the stage. And then one other thing, the Berlin vendors in the description, when they paid for those spots, they were given the premium areas, which was supposed to be next to the stage, next to the beer booth, and next to the gate. It's kind of a unicorn spot, and you can see in the previous layout, yes, next to the stage, yes, next to the beer vendors, but not really that close to the gate entrance. So like I said, staff has worked really, really hard. I'm very proud of this map, and I think this is something that we're going to look forward to in future years. To address those issues that I just talked about, staff looked at it and tried to figure out how to place these things strategically. So the first thing they did was group the rides together. So you'll see the yellow shaded areas, those are the ride spaces. This layout is actually so good that we didn't even need to use behind the sand volleyball court on the left, right next to park access. We didn't even need that space after we did this layout. So that ride area is represents 26,000 square feet, whereas the previous layout represented 13,000 square feet. So we nearly doubled our square footage to put carnival rides in that space.
Can you send that out to us?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Additionally, what this does is you'll see the food vendors, the ones in blue, those have been moved around. So this places the food trucks on the pathway behind the carnival rides. That keeps them out from under the canopy, keeps them 20 feet from any structure, which is a requirement via fire code. And it keeps them on a hard surface. It also keeps them away from being directly in front of the stage. The other blue tents, those would be, food vendors who are under a tent. It's a little bit softer. It's the best we can do to try and get a soft surface for that sound to not bounce directly back to the stage. An additional benefit of rotating the stage like this, it was brought up that people are not going to be staring directly into the sun as it sets now, which is a nice little side benefit. Additional benefits, there is space for the green room. Another benefit that staff has talked about is we would put extra fencing starting at the left. So like if you're looking at the 12 o'clock of the stage, from that corner up through roughly halfway between that fence and the sand volleyball court, we would make essentially a corridor of fencing. What that's going to allow us to do is put up banners with marketing, photo opportunities. That will all be lined right there along the stage. So as the bands are driving in, they're behind the fence. It's covered so you can't see what's going on, but it also prevents another sponsorship opportunity. And we can do whatever we want to with
Presents
that
or
balance.
prevents another sponsorship?
I know that's
Did you say present or
Presents.
prevent?
It does
Presents.
present,
Okay.
yes.
I wasn't sure.
Depending on if we have more sponsors, but yes,
Gotcha.
it would present more essentially billboard space right there for them to put their
Nice.
logo on.
And tell me how that is in comparison to where the green room is?
So the green room, and I'll send you that map as well.
Okay.
It's essentially right behind the stage.
Yeah.
So what you can't see on the map is there's a power pylon right there behind the stage.
Okay.
So essentially maybe a 5-foot gap in between that and the green room, and they would be essentially mirroring the stage right behind it. So
Awesome, thank you.
you're welcome.
I don't know what a Berlin vendor is. I guess y'all know what that is, but I
That's just the different levels
Yeah.
that we pick. So
Oh, okay,
the
because it's a
Berlin-
German festival, we have to use
Yeah, it was
German.
like the top, the 350.
Got it.
Munich
Is
was the mid-tier.
And then
the
Okay.
300,
Frankfurt.
And Frankfurt was the lowest.
Yeah.
tier.
Another benefit is this does put, so the Berlin vendors are the one in dark orange. It puts them in between the entrance to the park, the food vendors near the stage, right there in the prime spot. So,
And by the seating.
yes.
Where the covered seating is for the food too.
And so that puts them in a prime location. We feel like that is, when you're paying for the premium spot, that's the spot to be in. So we feel like it hits that requirement as well. And so staff has moved forward with this new layout. And so we're really excited about it. We think it's going to do a lot of great things for us. Obviously, after the event's over, we would love y'all's feedback on it. But I'm really excited for this setup.
Where's the PD RV and the other RV gonna be?
So those would be moved to, you can't see it on the
Okay,
map, but
okay.
down in the bottom right-hand corner is the Fluger parking lot.
Right,
So the 2 RVs would be moved to that area.
Yeah.
It's also convenient for staff because they can come, most of them are going to be working right there at the gate.
Yeah.
They can come right across through the parking lot to go recover.
that's where I'm gonna be.
Hopefully it's not hot by that point, but who knows, so.
I will be right
Yeah.
there.
So it has a lot of side benefits. The more you look at it, the more you kind of realize that this layout provides some extra opportunities. And staff is working on all the extra supplies that we need to be able to make this layout happen, such as fencing, and talking with FD about placement of the food trucks, et cetera.
Cool. And I missed, I think Miriam alluded to that, but the green tent, is that a covered eating space? Is
The
that
orange,
the orange?
the
basketball
orange
court
What's,
thing.
what's
basketball
the
court.
green, what's the green tent?
That's the little house. The one at the bottom, you mean?
No, all the way to the left, the chartreuse green.
That's the stage.
The stage, yeah.
The stage is gonna be moved over there at an angle.
Yeah, and it's
Got
gonna
it.
be
Okay,
pointed essentially
I was looking at the
towards
basketball
Gilland.
court thinking that was the stage.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what I
that
get for
used to
going to
be.
the bathroom when y'all are talking about all this stuff, so.
Yeah, that,
Okay,
that
I
green is
gotcha.
the stage, so it will be pointed almost directly at Gilland
Got it.
for the sound profile. It
Cool.
also
That's very
adds, so this gives us 17,000 square feet of seating. The other layout gave us 9,000 square feet. So
Nice.
we're actually ending up with more seating
Oh,
space
yeah,
in
that's
this
cool.
layout as well.
plus
like
it
it too.
includes the carnival a little bit better too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that it puts the resources, like you said, in the parking lot, where before you'd have to be way over there. And it felt like it was broken up into 2 sides, where now everything's on this side. And the carnival, well, that's where the people are gonna be, so.
Yeah.
Get them on that side, right, and spread them out. Um,
Yeah.
On the trail that used to go where that orange line is behind the stage,
Mm-hmm.
with like the golf carts and all that, is that still gonna happen, or is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be essentially the golf cart runway right
Right.
there, so.
That was the only thing I was thinking
It's
about, is
mapped
like,
out.
we're going behind the stage a bunch of times with golf carts.
That kind of orange brown isn't the fence line. That kind of is the notation of that path.
Okay,
Yeah,
got
so
it.
it's a little, so it, like I said, that's the path. So you actually have more space like between the corner of the stage and the fence.
Okay.
And it kind of gives in that map, but yeah, it's
yeah,
that
that
same
helps a
space.
lot for load in.
That was the
load out.
only concern, is like,
Yeah.
all these golf carts going behind the stage and someone's
sure.
playing.
And then like Jonathan said, like the fencing that comes off each side of the stage, you'll have a big enough gap,
Gotcha.
not just for the golf carts, but for people to be able to load in and out.
Got
on
it.
Staff
north side
have
of the
talked
stage.
about making it roughly 2 cars wide.
Yeah, okay.
To give plenty of space back there, so you can have vendors loading in or band members loading in and loading out if they need to.
The
That's
good
great.
thing is that if it doesn't work out from the bands, we'll hear about it and we'll be able to adjust accordingly. They'll let us know, but that sounds good. Lots of space is good.
So like I said, I'm really excited about that. That's
Yeah.
the kind of biggest change. Other updates, so gates and volunteers, right now we have 110 out of 124 staff volunteers. So
Wow.
88 of the percent of the positions filled. Citizen volunteers, we're sitting at 53 out of 96, so we're about halfway, a little over halfway there. And then gates, so the gates will be manned by rec center staff and aquatics cashiers. They are all trained and have experience in working with money, and so we figure those are the best people to be at our gates.
Yeah.
As well as Whitney and Rob and her staff will be there as well to supervise that. So, yeah, if you know of anyone who would like to volunteer, Eddie has been reaching out to groups that he knows of, but be our feet on the ground for this, and please encourage people that you know to volunteer and sign up.
Have you got, send us the link and all that, or just send them to the Deutschen Pfest page? for
Yeah,
volunteer? Okay.
we'll make sure and send that out.
Okay.
So next is vendors. Right now we have, for regular vendors, so these are artisan craft vendors, we have 37 approved.
With 38 probably.
Oh,
Does
38?
that count the one from today?
Mm-mm, not today.
So 38, yeah.
So 38 approved, 17 rejected. At the moment, once again, Berlin is the premium, Munich is the middle level, and then Frankfurt is the base. So we have 12 Berlin, which are the premiums, 13 Munich, and 16 Frankfurt. So it's kind of the breakdown. It's pretty evenly split. As far as food vendors go, we have 17 approved food vendors and 3 rejected. Those are both closed, so there are no more new applications coming in for those right now. And then we have our 2 nonprofit beer booth vendors. So next up is the Fun Run and Community Fair. Right now we have 116 runners signed up. That's 110 adults and 6 kids. So the kids one is a little light so far, but there's still time to sign up for that. Vendors, it's open until October 6th. Right now we have 29 applied vendors specifically for the community fair. Those 20 declined vendors from Friday and Saturday. What happened essentially is a lot of those would have been people who would have been approved probably for the Sunday fair, but they applied for the Friday and Saturday. So we are going to...
They were all invited to apply for Sunday.
Yeah, so we're going to continue to reach out to them, see if they would like to switch over. And once again, the Sunday one, those are for vendors who are not, craft artisan vendors. And so those are our community groups, religious organizations, political organizations. Any of those can apply for the Sunday one. And so that's open until 10/6. We're not making any more, I think we talked about it a little bit earlier, but we're not making any decisions on any of those quite yet until we get closer to that 10/6 deadline to be able to make decisions on those.
I have a question about that, because is that still held in that park off of Fennig, that parking lot? Or-
Yes, so it'll be at Fennig Park. It's essentially on the right side of the soccer fields. So if you're standing at the parking lot looking at the fields, it's technically on the left side. Reason why is we are doing a maze as a part of that. The left side of Fennig is not irrigated, and the maze requires staking down stakes. And so it'll be on that left side of Fennig, essentially right across from where the run is going to start on the trail.
So is there a limit to how many vendors we can put there?
Staff has talked about 50, and so as you
wow.
can
Still a
see,
lot.
we're pretty close to that right now, depending on who moves over from Friday and Saturday. So that's kind of why we're holding off on approving or doing anything with those vendors to see how many more that we get, so that we can get a good selection for those and make sure that we have a wide variety for our participants on Sunday.
Uh, 4B, discussion regarding committee updates.
So here we go. We'll start off with vendors.
So we plotted most of the vendors this morning. So we're, like the food vendors, we have a good number. We have a couple more spots left, but otherwise that blue, I don't know, do you want to put that map back
Yeah.
up? And I can kind of show, so we have like most of this area is filled out. So starting around here and through here are where the trucks are, and these are the soft like tent vendors. So most of this is full. We have a couple more spots back here. If we get any more food vendors that we want, let's add variety to the festival. Otherwise, we have a good variety. This is filled except for a couple in the middle. So, I don't know, we might just condense that a little bit if we don't get those.
Bless you.
Thank you.
These are all filled pretty much to right there. So we had the most vendors in this section because it's the most affordable. But we have most of those filled. And then we have everything from here to here filled. we may not fill those 2 spots, and for now, these are empty, cause we just didn't have, that many vendors, and we thought, like, this is a nice big open field right across from the playground, so, if there was any place to keep open, we thought that made the most sense. So, we're looking pretty good.
How far down, I know you were pointing to, what would be, map speaking would be the southeast side. So the green boxes, how far down does that go, as far as where the gazebo and the pavilion are? Cause I'm not sure I'm seeing the gazebo. unless
Well,
it's that
there
tiny
is
little
one more
green
thing we need
box.
to talk about, that, yeah, the gazebo's not,
Is it that little
I
blue?
think it's all the way at the bottom.
Is
right?
it this-
Just-
Yeah, it might just be out of frame.
Yeah.
yeah, it's not,
Gabby's showing me.
yeah, because
Okay.
it slopes, when you
Gotcha,
get down
thank you.
there, it slopes
Yeah.
down. We can't really put vendors there, but it's almost to the end where that tree line is. You can see where that tree line is, where it starts dipping down into the
Yeah.
creek. So it's about just 2 spots shy of that.
Okay.
So we did have one, I'll just throw out this question, and then if we deal with it later, that's fine. But we had talked about, having at least one of the beer vendors and hopefully some kind of food in the green area, so that we have it on both sides of the park, since we've got entertainment on that side too. So what Gabby and I talked about today is put in the Friends of Pflugerville Animal Shelter there in the green area. So then we have drinks on that side, and then if we wanna move one of the food vendors there as well. I don't know, that's probably something we put on the agenda for next meeting to vote on, I guess. That,
Make a note of that.
yeah. And then I have some other vendors to call. I think what we would do, since the applications are closed, if there, what we had talked about, if there was a vendor, food or retail type vendor, that really complemented what we already have, not duplicate, but somebody that really complemented, or somebody that would be popular with the festival goers, that we might deal with those on a case by case.
Yeah.
Since we do have some spaces.
If anyone reaches out, send them over to me, and I'll pass them along to her. That way we're not getting into a quorum situation. So send it to me, I'll be the middleman for it.
Okay,
Who are you?
but I think that's it.
I don't know sometimes, so.
I'll just start typing and see what shows up.
Did anybody have any questions about the vendors?
Fun Run and Community Fair, he was not able to be here tonight. But essentially, we are just waiting for the community fair vendors to, for that application to close. And staff has already talked about a layout for that. And so we're ready, once it closes, to go ahead and get that prepped and set up. Orange Theory is doing the warm-up again this year. So, and then they'll have a water table as well. And then we have another volunteer group who, because it's an out and back, will be just across from them on the other side, offering water as they go back. So there'll be plenty of refreshments on that run. So let's hop down to gates and volunteers.
I reached out to Eddie. I'm gonna actually meet up with him at the farmer's market tomorrow. But yeah, I think we're just gonna get together, just talk about what we wanna do for the orientation, get that understood on what we wanna do. But I've worked with Eddie before on some of the cleanup drives and stuff, so
Awesome.
yeah. But other than that, just call me before the storm.
And then entertainment.
So we got everybody locked and loaded. I've got all the contracts, all the W-9s sent in except for Mario Fraga's 2 separate groups. He's got kids group and he's also the jazz and yacht. I've pushed him to get the W-9s because I know you guys want to get that out there. So I would be interested in having a lot of signage at all the gate entrances telling who's performing, when they're performing, et cetera, so people can just, easily come by and go, oh, yeah, I want to go get something to eat and come back over here. Since we are unable to have a lot of vendors, in that tail end. If we could get some signage, that would be really nice. We haven't had that in the past. And we've already discussed what goes in the packets for the bands. We've already discussed wristbands. I'm gonna bring my leftovers from last year. So I think that's it. Yeah,
Getting
it's
close.
it's all ready to go.
All right, 5A, discuss and consider committee t-shirts and designs.
I thought we already did that.
Well, I think
This
we're
is
gonna
the
get.
committee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Oh.
discussed last time, but we didn't have any designs
Right.
To actually-
ready to go.
Got it. I
So
thought
we
did. I
do
thought
this
they
time.
voted on it.
So I'm gonna put it up there. Everybody think about it, look at it. I will say, you will notice it does not have a frocket. I'm sorry, we tried.
What's a frocket?
A front
Front
pocket.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
the-
I have
dude,
never
That's the cool
heard
word
that.
for it. So.
Oh.
I'm gonna say I'm not disappointed.
Unfortunately, the detail in the logo is there's too much of it to be able to shrink it down to pocket size.
Ah,
That makes sense.
So we can, when putting this up, you can suggest edits as a part of it, but this is what the vendor thought was the best secondary option because we can't do the frocket on it.
So the only difference is the color?
The color and then the committee text on the back of the shirt. And the first one's a tan, and then the second one is
Gold.
yeah, I think it's
Yellow.
like a
It says sand and yellow.
yeah. So I think it's almost, it looks like a mustard type color. So
Okay. I saw. I read gold 142. So.
yeah, I'm saying that too. The
The
gold
second-
142.
Oh, gold.
The second option with the verbiage on the back could say committee or committee member. So it just depends if y'all want to do just committee or committee member.
I don't think that matters so much as having a yellow shirt to be able to say you need to go
Yeah,
grab a
me
yellow
too.
shirt over there. And
Yeah.
tan is just gonna. We
Yeah,
might as
I
well be
said
having
the
black
yellow,
or
the
green.
yellow just to make people easier
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Were these the 2 color options? Oh, okay.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, these are the two that this logo worked best on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say something that sticks out more because
Yeah.
that way you can easily see your other committee members, things like that.
Would we be the only ones with the yellow? Or-
Yes, yeah.
Like, that's not an option to the public or whatever?
Hasn't been in the past.
Okay.
We've
I
always
just
had a
wanted to make
different
color.
color.
Kid shirts.
The kid shirts are green and the adult shirts are red, and then we have a gray option as well. A heather
So-
navy. Heather navy option. So y'all would be the only ones with the
The
yellow
only,
shirt.
the only
Good.
reason I say that is I would also be okay if like we didn't have, if we were in a bright color and we didn't have committee on the back. And then that way, after Deutschen Pfest was over, it wouldn't be weird for me to be wearing a shirt that says committee. But it's okay if we have it. That's not a
Well,
problem.
but then if you
think
just
you
happen
wanna
to
be
see a sea, if
identified,
you want to
though.
see a sea of yellow shirts out there and somebody's saying, somebody in a yellow shirt
Oh,
that says
yeah.
committee.
Yeah,
You
no,
can
that
use
makes
it to
sense.
brag on yourself later on.
Well, and
Yeah,
if
it's
you,
a badge
if you
of
wear
honor.
it later, then like you'll meet people. 'Cause they'll ask you, oh, what does that mean?
I gotta say, I've got a lot of these shirts and they're in a part of my closet right over here.
Yeah.
I haven't actually worn them, but I hesitate to give them, to Goodwill or something, because somebody's gonna be walking around with a committee on the back. Yeah, I don't want that.
Some 14-year-old.
Yeah.
Using it ironically. I get it.
So this is a discuss and consider.
All right, so do I have a motion for the T-shirt?
I'll make a motion that we choose the yellow option number 2.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
All right, motion carries, so the yellow shirt with the logo on the front and committee on the back.
Please,
Just committee
please.
on the back?
Yeah,
I would-
it's
I'm
just
good with
committee.
that.
Well,
Yeah.
you think it should say committee member?
I think, personally, I would think it'd be better to say committee member, but I'm not passionate about either way, so. But if you made me choose, I would say committee member.
Does this sort of sound like mafia?
A little bit,
That's what I
like a
needed.
maid guy. No, I think that like if somebody who's at the festival sees you, I think it would click for them more if it said
If
committee
they're walking
member,
behind you.
I would
yeah.
like festival team.
festival team.
I want entertainment on mine, written in script, in Calibri.
See what you did here.
I'm going to the next slide.
Oh, but I would say, please order big sizes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the material, do we know what the material is? Because in the past, we've had some that you just had to peel it off. It was so hot, it just stuck.
Yeah, I think it's the brushed cotton, that
Okay.
softer cotton
Okay, good.
blend.
Yep.
Would you guys be open to
That's actually
Deutschen
like
Fest
this.
committee instead of Deutschen Fest, or instead of committee member?
That's really cool.
Like
Yeah,
just something
Deutschen
that
Fest
clarifies
committee,
what
yeah.
you are.
Yeah.
Deutschen
That
Fest
sounds
committee?
good.
Good
Yeah.
job, yep.
Problem solver. Do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so now do we have to revote?
Oh, I don't know. Do we?
Or
Okay.
we're still discussing?
Do we need
it?
to?
No.
Okay.
I'll write it down, we got you.
Got it. Yeah, that sounds good.
5B is discuss and consider future committee meeting schedule.
So because of all the changes that we're going through right now, I'm recommending additional meetings leading up to Deutschen Fest. This is a discuss and consider, so it is up to y'all to make a motion and go through that process, but I think coming up on the event as we are, being able to meet more often is helpful, especially leading up to the month of October. Having said that, I know everyone has lives outside of Deutschen Fest, and so that's something to consider as well. I will say on the October 9th meeting, a lot of the staff will be at NRPA that next day, so we will be out for the rest of the week. So that one is, I think, probably a very important meeting. So
We need to double check that, Jonathan, just because that's our day we do the citywide conference, and some of our video staff may not be available that day,
gotcha.
so we just need to double check that date,
For which one?
the night. We canceled other nighttime meetings for that same reason.
And is that a city holiday? Columbus Day?
It's not.
It's not.
Okay.
The city is doing a citywide training on that day.
Gotcha.
During the day.
I mean, we did talk about that last meeting about, starting this week to meet every week. So,
Yeah,
I
but we
mean, I'm
didn't.
fine with that schedule.
Yeah, I am too. I would rather meet more often than not and be able to say, we don't need to meet again.
Yeah.
We're all good.
So what would we, if we had to substitute the October 9th, would we choose a different, would we choose Tuesday or Wednesday, or would we skip that week?
I mean, that would be up to y'all if you wanted to make that in the motion and put it as a different day, you could do that. Once again, these are staff recommendations on the dates, and so if you would like to make sure that that is a possibility, you could select a different date than the 9th.
So the conflict is video?
It's staffing that day, for that evening. You can keep it as the 9th, and we can follow up with you later in the week and change it next week if needed.
So what if we, if we met just a little earlier that same day, would that work, or no?
I don't think that would really affect it, would it?
It wouldn't.
Yeah.
It would still be bad.
but it is something that could also be considered next time.
Not to interject, but I'm interjecting. If it doesn't need to be recorded, have them whenever. With any of those dates, if there's another off-site meeting going on that Nathan Ryan is filming, we only have one kid, so it would be who gets it kind of thing. So, and as soon as you have it, like you decide on these dates, then I know what to put on the calendar. So if that, I don't know if that makes it easier or whatever.
Yeah. So this one is also a discuss and consider. You can do it a couple different ways depending on how you want to make the motion. If you want to approve just the next meeting, and then we can revisit this, or you could make a motion to accept or decline any of the dates on there.
Is there anyone right now that has any issues with any of those dates so far?
All right.
Because if we don't, we can just approve it.
Well, I mean, it's the October 9th. I guess like in the motion, we would just have to make allowance
Yeah,
for the
with
fact that
a
October
contingency,
9th
right?
may
Or-
be,
Or we could always reconsider it next time as well, once staff takes a look at it.
Yeah, because we'll have that October 2nd meeting, so they're gonna know by that time whether we can make the meeting on the 9th or not, and then we can reconsider it, right?
so we could make a motion to accept all of them with the exception of October 9th, which
Being
will be
tentative.
decided at the October 2nd
Yeah.
meeting.
Go for it, you got it.
Okay,
I second
You're-
what you
So
just
moved.
said. I second.
so moved. Do I have to say that again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I move that we accept the proposed meeting dates with this exception of October 9th, which will be decided at the October 2nd meeting.
Perfect.
Do I have a second?
A second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries, and the potential dates are. Just see, 5C, discuss and consider action to place items on the future Deutschen Pfest committee meeting agenda.
Oh,
This is where I need to remember what I was gonna say.
Are we gonna have pizza?
I'm writing it down.
Because I noticed that Amy has a box of cookies
There.
for herself.
No, they're
She
for
has them for
everyone.
herself, but I didn't get it. I didn't get it.
Please.
Oh, okay, so I don't know if these are things we have to vote on next meeting, but, okay, Pflugerville ISD was accidentally, or due to a misunderstanding, approved as a regular vendor, which they really aren't. So, did you find anything out about that, Gabby?
No, what we had discussed of possibly doing is because that happened, we would place them located near the city booth due to its nature, because payment was already accepted for that
Yeah.
specifically.
So I guess, should that probably be something we have to vote on? So can we put that on the agenda for next week?
Yeah.
So we would vote, basically, we would vote to accept, well, Pflugerville ISD is basically accepted, but they're not a vendor that's selling anything. But because we accepted them, we would put them near the Blue City booths.
So what are
So-
they doing? Handing out?
They're just giving out information about the
Stuff and
Yeah, there's a-
ISD.
Yeah, there's
So-
something on the ballot soon.
Including?
Yeah,
Got
it technically, it says that I approved it, so I was like, I'll take credit or blame or whatever. But I think it was a misunderstanding because I believe I asked Caitlin about it because I didn't expect to see them as a regular vendor. And she said, yeah, go ahead and approve them. And I think that's what happened. And then when Gabby and I were setting all the vendors up today, I realized, well, that's not where they would go. So,
I think that's what we did last year as well, and they sat with the city booth.
okay.
Yeah, no, they were
So
right
that
across
would
from
just
the
be
city
a
last year.
discuss and consider next time.
Yeah, we'll put it on there.
And then the other discuss and consider would be Friends of Pflugerville Animal Shelter, if we put that beer booth in by the Frankfurt booths, so that we have drinks on that side of the festival, as well as discussing putting at least one food type vendor on that side of the festival too. So does
So
that
where
be
would
something
they
we have
be?
to vote on, I guess?
Where would they be, the animal?
They would be along that sidewalk going toward the pavilion and the.
Yes, that's exactly where I want.
Yeah,
As
well,
close to
that,
the buffet as
because I
possible.
want those people, the people that are watching that entertainment, because we've got good stuff on
Yeah.
both sides of the.
Right, on the river.
I want some food and drink to be easy. Otherwise, anybody that's down there has nothing, or they have to walk all the way across the
Well, and they've
festival.
got the pavilion with the tables and chairs. I mean, it's perfect for grabbing food and going to listen to
Yeah.
music, sitting in the pavilion, coming back and forth.
Yeah,
As long as you have a wristband.
We'll
coming back.
pull a slide and put that on there for the
Okay.
next meeting.
okay, I think that's all I had to vote on for next time.
I want to be able to get to the puppies and kitties, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Lowers my blood pressure.
Any other items to put on the agenda for next time? Awesome.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Wait,
All
who
in-
did that?
Yeah.
Two people that did it at the
One-
same time.
Oh,
Motion.
oh, she did it first.
Okay.
Good catch.
I don't need credit.
Good job, city staff. Really, the
We
map
still
was
need to
really Aye.
All right.
Good job,
Meeting is
Steve.
adjourned.
Thank you.